The Simpsons has made too many jokes that later turned out to be real. Trump becoming president, smartwatches before they even existed, Disney buying Fox. Somehow, the cartoon keeps getting things right, but the predictions tied to 2026 are far darker than anything before. We are talking about reality becoming impossible to trust.
Amazon is planning to cut 14,000 corporate jobs starting this week. It is one of the largest rounds of layoffs.
Constant surveillance, terrifying global instability, and the obvious escalating possibility of World War III.
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III!
Let's dive in. Number 15, World War III. The Simpsons joked about World War III so casually that nobody thought twice about it at the time. In Simpson Tide, Homer joins the Naval Reserve, ends up on a nuclear submarine, loses the captain during a drill, and drifts into Russian waters with no real idea what he is doing. Then the joke turns dark. The Soviet Union suddenly returns. The Berlin Wall rises again. Troops march through the streets, and the world is pushed toward a nuclear standoff because the wrong man ended up near the wrong buttons. That was the cartoon version. The real version does not need Homer. In January 2026, the doomsday clock moved to 89 seconds before midnight, the closest it has ever been since it was created in 1947. Midnight does not mean a normal clock striking 12. It means a human-made disaster big enough to break the modern world. The warning came because too many dangers are rising at once. Nuclear weapons, war, artificial intelligence, biological threats, and leaders failing to control the risks. The world still has about 12,241 nuclear weapons. About 9,614 are in military stockpiles that could be used, and around 3,912 are already deployed with missiles and aircraft. Even worse, about 2,100 deployed warheads are kept on high alert, ready for fast launch. One of the last big safety rules also ran out. The New START treaty ended in February 2026. It had helped limit the long-range nuclear weapons held by the United States and Russia, the two biggest nuclear powers in the world. Without it, there are fewer firm rules stopping both sides from building up their arsenals again. Then there is Ukraine. In 2025 alone, at least 2,514 civilians were killed and 12,142 were injured. The war has become a long wound in Europe, with drones, missiles, nuclear threats, and outside powers watching every move. The Middle East has become another live wire. In May 2026, the United States and Iran exchanged fire around the Strait of Hormuz after 3 United States Navy destroyers came under attack from Iranian missiles, drones, and small boats. No American ships were hit, but the clash showed how fast one narrow waterway can become a global crisis. The Strait of Hormuz once carried about 1/5 of the world's oil and petroleum product consumption. So trouble there can shake fuel prices, shipping, food costs, and whole economies far beyond the region. Global military spending reached $2.887 trillion in 2025, rising for the 11th year in a row. Number 14, AI replacing human workers. In them, robot Mr. Burns looks at the cost of human workers and decides the nuclear plant would run better without them. Almost everyone is fired. The plant fills with shiny machines that never ask for raises, never need lunch, never get sick, and never complain about safety. Homer is the only human left. Not because Burns respects him, but because someone still has to watch the robots and take the blame. At first, the machines look perfect. The plant is clean and quiet. The robots follow orders. But outside the plant, Springfield feels empty. Workers who had jobs and routines suddenly have nowhere to go. Homer tries to make the robots feel more human by changing their code, but that only makes things worse. Once the machines start acting for themselves, they turn on Burns and Homer, and the fired workers have to come back and save them. That joke cuts deep now, because the real replacement does not always look like a robot. It looks like a chat box, a writing tool, a voice on a support line, a program that checks code, or a system that sorts job applications before a person reads them. Artificial intelligence can now write ads, answer customers, translate text, draft reports, build images, summarize meetings, check legal papers, and help write software. About 40% of jobs worldwide may be affected by AI. In richer countries, the share rises to about 60%. Another estimate says work equal to 300 million full-time jobs is exposed to automation. Companies are acting like Springfield's power plant. Amazon cut about 14,000 corporate jobs in 2025 during a push shaped by AI and efficiency. Duolingo moved toward an AI-first plan and said it would stop using contractors for work AI can handle. Cloudflare announced deep cuts in 2026 while rebuilding the company around AI agents. The scariest part is not that every job disappears at once. It is that jobs shrink quietly. One team becomes smaller. One task becomes automated. One junior role never opens. People are told to learn the tool, train the tool, and compete against it. Number 13. Plastic World. In Plastic World, The Simpsons shows a future where Earth is no longer covered in forests, fields, or clean streets. It is buried under bottles, wrappers, broken toys, old buckets, and junk that never truly went away. Lisa walks through the trash looking for something that should be easy to find. Real soil? Food has become so rare that people fight over frozen meals inside a buried Quickie Mart. Then the nightmare gets stranger. Homer, Marge, and other people begin turning into smooth, plastic versions of themselves. That part was made for Halloween, but the real world is already moving in the same direction in a quieter way. Plastic is no longer just floating in oceans or piling up in landfills. It is breaking into tiny pieces and entering the human body. These pieces are called microplastics. They come from bags, bottles, clothes, packaging, tires, and countless everyday items. Over time, they break down into dust so small that people can breathe it, drink it, and eat it without knowing. Scientists have now found tiny plastic pieces in human blood, lungs, liver, placenta, breast milk, reproductive organs, and even brain tissue. The full danger is still being studied, but early concerns are serious. These particles and the chemicals around them may be linked to inflammation, hormone problems, heart risks, and damage that begins before a child is even born. The bigger problem is that the plastic keeps coming. Global plastic waste is on track to almost triple by 2060 if nothing major changes. By then, about half of that waste could still end up in landfills, while less than 1/5 may be recycled. Plastic production has already grown from about 2 million tons in 1950 to hundreds of millions of tons a year, and it could rise even higher in the coming decades. World leaders have tried to make a global plastics treaty, but talks in Geneva in 2025 ended without a deal. Some countries wanted to limit how much new plastic gets made, while others wanted to focus mostly on cleanup and recycling. Number 12. Brain chips. The Simpsons once joked about technology entering the brain itself. In Days of Future, Bart's life is shaped by a neural implant placed in his head. What he thinks he is feeling and living through is partly being created by a device. That kind of future is no longer only cartoon science fiction. Neuralink is already testing brain implants in real people. The first goal is medical. The company is trying to help people who cannot move their arms or legs control computers with thought alone. Its early trial is aimed at people with severe paralysis from spinal cord injury, or ALS, a disease that slowly takes away muscle control. By January 2026, Neuralink had 21 people enrolled in human trials around the world. The first public patient showed that he could move a computer cursor, browse the internet, post online, and play video games by using signals from his brain. Another patient used the implant to play games and design three-dimensional objects on a computer. For someone trapped inside a body that will not move, that is not a gimmick. It can mean freedom. But that is exactly what makes the fear more complicated. The same device that can give control back to a paralyzed person also opens a door that no phone or smartwatch has ever opened. A phone tracks what you type. A watch tracks your pulse. A brain interface works with signals coming from the organ that holds movement, memory, choice, and thought. Neuralink is not alone either. More than 45 brain-computer interface trials are already underway, with other companies and research teams trying to help people communicate, move machines, or restore lost function. The field is growing fast because the medical promise is huge. The danger is what comes after the miracle. Who owns brain data? Who protects it? Could companies, insurers, armies, or governments ever want access to it? Number 11. Smart. Homes turning on you. The Simpsons turned the smart home into a nightmare in House of Wax. Marge lets the family upgrade their house into the Ultra House 3000, a perfect helper with a smooth voice, hidden cameras, automatic doors, and control over almost everything inside. It cooks, cleans, runs the bath, watches the family, and makes life easy. Then it falls in love with Marge and decides Homer has to go. The episode turns funny when the house uses bacon to lure Homer downstairs, locks doors, sets traps, and tries to push him into danger. But underneath the joke is a simple fear. Once a house can watch every room and control every exit, the person living there may not be the only one in charge. Real homes are now much closer to that setup than most people like to think. A modern house can have smart speakers listening for commands, doorbell cameras watching the street, indoor cameras watching children and pets, smart locks guarding the doors, robot vacuums mapping the floors, and apps sending data through company servers. One device is useful. A whole house of them becomes a map of daily life. The problems are already real. Ring had to pay more than $5,600,000 in refunds after charges that workers and contractors were allowed to access private customer videos, and that weak security let hackers take over cameras and accounts. Wise admitted that a breach allowed about 13,000 customers to briefly see images from other people's cameras. In 2026, one man trying to connect a game controller to his own robot vacuum accidentally found a flaw that gave access to about 6,700 camera-equipped robot vacuums across 24 countries. The exposed data included live camera feeds, microphone audio, floor plans, and home maps. Number 10. One network to rule them all in Lisa's wedding. The Simpsons hides one of its sharpest future jokes on a news screen. Lisa sees adult Kent Brockman working for a channel called CNNB-CBS, a division of ABC. The name is ridiculous on purpose. It mashes CNN, NBC, CBS, and ABC into one giant media beast, as if the future has only a few huge owners left to tell everyone what to watch. That joke feels less ridiculous now. The real world did not create one channel with that exact name. It created a media system where giant companies keep buying pieces of each other until the map gets smaller and smaller. Disney bought most of 21st Century Fox in a deal worth about $71 billion. That brought The Simpsons under the same roof as Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars, FX, National Geographic, and huge film and television libraries. But the bigger fight now is streaming. Old television is losing its grip. In May 2025, streaming made up 44.8% of all television viewing in the United States, beating broadcast and cable combined for the first time. By July, streaming had climbed again to 47.3%. That means almost half of TV time was already going through apps instead of old channels. The company that controls the app controls the doorway. It decides what appears first, what gets buried, what gets promoted, and what quietly disappears. That is why the Warner Brothers Discovery fight became so huge. In 2026, Paramount Skydance reached a deal to buy Warner Brothers Discovery in a merger valued at about $110 billion, after a bidding war that also involved Netflix. If approved, the deal would bring CBS, CNN, HBO Max, Warner Brothers, Paramount Pictures, DC Studios, and several major film and television libraries closer together under one massive company. Regulators and lawmakers raised concerns about competition, foreign investment, news control, and how much power one media owner should have. This is not only about who owns movies, it is about who controls the stories people see, the news they trust, the franchises that dominate screens, and the risky ideas that never get made. Number 9. The Comet Threat. In Bart's Comet, Bart is stuck helping Principal Skinner with a school astronomy project when he accidentally spots a new comet in the sky. At first, the town treats it like a big discovery. Then, scientists realize the comet is heading straight for Springfield. Panic spreads. The Air Force fires a missile to destroy it, and the rescue plan somehow makes things worse by blowing up the only bridge out of town. Springfield survives in the dumbest way possible. The comet burns up in the town's filthy air and lands as a tiny rock. The people live, but only because luck did what planning could not. Real life cannot count on that. By late 2025, astronomers had identified more than 40,000 near-Earth asteroids. Around 10,000 of those had been found in only the previous 3 years. That sounds comforting at first because it means we are getting better at finding them. But it also means the sky still holds a lot of objects we did not know about before. Some are tiny, some would burn up harmlessly, others are large enough to damage a city. The warning already happened in 2013 over Chelyabinsk, Russia. A rock about the size of a small house entered the atmosphere at more than 11 miles per second. It exploded about 14 miles above the ground with energy equal to roughly 440,000 tons of TNT. The blast shattered windows across about 200 square miles and injured more than 1,600 people, mostly from flying glass. No one saw it coming in time. The good news is that humans have finally proved they can push a space rock. In 2022, NASA tested whether humans could push an asteroid off course. They sent a spacecraft called DART crashing into a small asteroid named Dimorphos. The crash did not destroy the asteroid, but it changed the way Dimorphos moved around a bigger asteroid nearby. Its orbit became 32 minutes shorter than before. That proved something huge. If a dangerous asteroid were ever heading toward Earth, we might be able to hit it early enough to slightly change its path and make it miss us. But that kind of defense only works if the asteroid is found early. Another close reminder is coming on April 13th, 2029, when Apophis will safely pass about 20,000 miles from Earth, closer than many satellites. It will not hit us, but the sight of a large asteroid passing that close will make one thing clear. Bart's comet was funny because Springfield got lucky. Earth does not want to need luck. Number 8. AI medbots running hospitals. The Simpsons slipped one of its creepiest future jokes into holidays of future past. Maggie is pregnant, but the person checking the baby is not a doctor leaning over a bed. It is a smooth, white medbot with a screen for a face and a calm machine voice. The robot scans her, gives the update, and acts like this is just normal hospital life. Now, that scene does not look that far away anymore. Real hospitals are already filling with machines that help decide what doctors see, what nurses check, and which warning signs get noticed first. These systems do not always look like robots. Most are quiet programs running behind screens. They read X-rays, CT scans, heart tests, and eye images. They look for tiny signs a tired human might miss. Some can flag a possible stroke, a lung problem, a heart rhythm issue, or an eye disease linked to diabetes before the patient even understands what is happening. In the United States, well over 1,000 medical tools using artificial intelligence have already been cleared for real use. One of the earliest fully self-running systems could check eye images for signs of diabetic eye damage without a specialist reading the result first. That is a big step because the machine is not only helping a doctor, it is making part of the call. The same shift is happening in surgery. Robot-assisted systems are now used across hospitals around the world. In 2025 alone, more than 3,100,000 procedures were done with Da Vinci surgical systems. A surgeon still controls the tools, but the hands inside the body are metal arms moving through tiny cuts. Even the doctor's visit is changing. Some clinics now use listening tools that sit in the room, hear the conversation, and write the notes afterward. In busy wards, phone apps can monitor patient data and warn staff when someone may be getting worse. The danger is not that doctors vanish overnight. The danger is that machines become part of the chain between a sick person and a life-changing answer. If the system misses something, flags the wrong thing, or is trusted too quickly, the mistake could be fatal. Number 7. The Mars Promise. In the Margian Chronicles, The Simpsons showed a private company selling one of the biggest dreams on Earth, a human colony on Mars by 2026. Lisa wants to go because Earth feels broken. Marge signs up only to protect her. The company puts volunteers through a fake Mars base, talks big about a new world, then suddenly tries to rush the launch when a rival company seems close. Then the truth comes out. The rocket was never really going anywhere. The whole mission was built on hype, attention, and promises the company could not keep. In real life, Mars is still being sold as the next great escape. Private space companies talk about cities on Mars, reusable rockets, and humans becoming a multi-planet species. It sounds bold, exciting, and almost heroic, but the gap between the sales pitch and the real danger is still enormous. SpaceX says it plans to start sending Starship cargo flights to Mars in 2030, mainly to test the system and carry research supplies. That means even the cargo phase is still ahead, while a real human settlement is much further away. Before people can live there, rockets have to launch safely, refuel in space, land on Mars, protect cargo, carry life support systems, and somehow keep people alive for months far from Earth. NASA is moving more carefully. In April 2026, Artemis II sent 4 astronauts around the Moon and brought them home after a 10-day test flight. That mission was not a Mars trip. It was a step toward learning how humans, spacecraft, heat shields, life support, and deep space systems behave far from Earth. Mars is harsher than any company promo makes it sound. There is no breathable air, no quick rescue, no normal hospital, and no easy return if something breaks. The trip alone can take months. Radiation is dangerous. Dust can damage machines. A bad landing could end everything before the crew even steps outside. Number 6. The entertainment trap. In The Simpsons. Wicked this way comes, Springfield turns entertainment into something almost illegal. Homer works for a future Ministry of Culture, hunting down old silly shows and burning the tapes. Cartoons, game shows, prank clips, and home videos are treated like junk that must be destroyed. Only serious, heavy shows are allowed. Then Homer finds a forbidden tape of America's funniest home videos, watches it in secret, and laughs like he has found something dangerous. The real twist is that the approved shows are not there to make people smarter. They are there to keep people quiet. Real life went the other way, but ended up in a similar place. Dumb content was not banned. It became endless. More than 5 billion people now use social media, and a typical user spends more than 2 hours a day scrolling. The phone learns what makes each person stop. A fight, a joke, a shocking clip, a sad story, a fake rumor, a beautiful face, an angry rant. If it holds attention, the system sends more. That is the trap. Nobody has to force people to watch. The feed studies them until it knows what they cannot easily ignore. In 2026, the fight over this moved from worried parents into courtrooms. A Los Angeles jury found Meta and Google liable in a major social media addiction case, with the case focused on design choices like autoplay and endless scrolling. In New Mexico, prosecutors pushed for major changes to Meta's apps after a jury found the company liable for harming children and hiding what it knew about risks. The proposed changes targeted endless scrolling, content systems, age checks, privacy settings, and the way adults can reach children online. Europe has also moved against the same problem. Large online platforms now have to explain more about how their feeds work, what risks they create, and how they handle harm. Number 5. The meat nobody trusts. The Simpsons has always understood that food is never just food. In Lisa the Vegetarian, Lisa refuses to eat lamb, and the whole town treats her choice like a personal attack. Her family does not understand her. The school mocks her. Even a simple dinner turns into a fight about values, habits, and what people think is normal. Then, in future episodes like Lisa's wedding, the show pushes daily life into a stranger, more automated world, where technology has changed even the most basic parts of home, family, and food. That mix now feels very close to the fight happening around lab-grown meat. Cultivated meat starts with real animal cells. Those cells are grown in controlled tanks until they become meat without raising and killing a full animal. In 2023, cultivated chicken from Upside Foods and Good Meat received final approval for sale in the United States. For the first time, meat grown from cells could legally be sold to American diners. Then the backlash hit. By April 2026, Alabama, Florida, Indiana, Mississippi, Montana, Nebraska, and Texas had all passed laws banning cell-cultured meat in some form. Some bans target the sale, others target production or distribution. Florida's ban took effect in 2024, and in March 2026, a federal appeals court allowed it to stay in place. Texas passed a 2-year ban that took effect in September 2025, with fines that can reach $25,000 per day. Tech companies say cultivated meat could cut waste, reduce animal slaughter, and change how meat is made. Ranchers and many politicians say it threatens real farming, confuses consumers, and turns dinner into something unnatural. Number 4. Mass surveillance and the end of privacy. In the Simpsons movie, Marge tries to calm Lisa by saying it is not like the government is listening to everyone. The scene cuts straight to a huge secret room where workers are wearing headsets, listening to calls, and waiting for one interesting conversation to pop up. Then in To Surveil with Love, Springfield covers the town with cameras after a train station scare. At first, people are angry, then the cameras stay. The town gets used to them, and ordinary neighbors help watch other ordinary neighbors. The joke is not only that Springfield is being watched, it is that people slowly stop fighting it. Real life moved in that same direction, but with stronger tools. In 2013, secret files showed that the National Security Agency had been collecting phone records from millions of people. The records showed who called whom, when the calls happened, and how long they lasted. Now cameras are on streets, stores, parking lots, schools, doorbells, and police cars. Automated license plate readers can scan passing vehicles, record the plate, mark the time, save the location, and build a trail of where a car has been. In 2026, several American cities and states have been arguing over how long this data should be kept, who can see it, and whether it can be shared too easily. Facial recognition adds another layer. A camera does not only see a crowd anymore. In some places, it can search for a face inside that crowd. China has built one of the largest camera networks on Earth, with hundreds of millions of cameras across public space. In Europe, new rules now limit real-time face scanning in public places for law enforcement, because leaders know how dangerous that power can become. Number 3. The watch that knows too much in Lisa's wedding. The Simpsons showed a future where Lisa's fiancé, Hugh, lifts his wrist and talks into his watch like it is a tiny phone. In 1995, that looked like a quick throwaway joke. A phone was still something people held in their hands. The idea of answering calls from a watch felt like silly future talk. Now it feels normal, but the real prediction was not just the phone on the wrist. It was what came after it. Smartwatches are no longer simple gadgets for calls, texts, and checking the time. They have become tiny body trackers that sit on people day and night, quietly collecting details most people used to keep private. By 2026, there are more than 562 million smartwatch users around the world. The market is worth more than $35 billion, and more than 92% of users track health and fitness with them. These watches count steps, record workouts, track sleep, measure heart rate, track stress, follow movement, and in some cases, check heart rhythm and blood oxygen. Some people wear them to bed, some wear them to work, some only take them off to charge. That can be useful. A watch can warn someone about an unusual heartbeat. It can push people to move more, sleep better, or notice changes in their bodies. For people with health problems, that small screen can feel like a safety net. But the darker side is what happens to all that data. A password can be changed, a bank card can be replaced. Your heart rhythm, sleep pattern, stress level, and daily movement are different. They are part of you. That kind of data can show when someone wakes up, when they stop moving, when they visit a clinic, when their heart starts racing, when their sleep gets worse, and when their normal routine suddenly changes. Privacy experts have warned that wearable data could be useful to insurers, employers, advertisers, and companies looking for ways to judge people without asking them directly. Number 2, the next pandemic. In Marge in Chains, Homer and half the town buy the juice loosener from Osaka. At the factory, one tired worker is coughing while he packs the boxes. He sneezes into the crates. The machines are shipped overseas, and when Springfield opens them, the germs come out with the product. In a few days, the Osaka flu is everywhere. People cough in the streets, workers collapse on the job, hospitals fill up, and the whole town starts begging Dr. Hibbert for a cure. Then fear makes everything worse. The crowd hears that a truck outside may have medicine inside. They rush it, smash it open, and instead of pills, they release a swarm of killer bees. The sickness was bad, but the panic turned it into chaos. That joke feels colder after COVID. 19 taught the real world how fast a virus can travel. One sick person in one place can become a problem in another country before anyone knows what happened. The winter of 2025 into 2026 proved that the fear was not gone. In the United States, flu illnesses reached around 11 million by early January, with about 120,000 people hospitalized and about 5,000 deaths. The main strain was H3N2, and a fast-spreading branch called subclade K had changed enough to worry health officials. In Europe, the same kind of flu arrived early and put pressure on hospitals across more than half the region. Bird flu added another warning. Since early 2024, the United States has recorded 71 human H5 bird flu cases. So far, there is no sign of sustained human-to-human spread, but the virus keeps moving through birds, mammals, farms, and workers close to infected animals. World leaders agreed on a pandemic plan in 2025, but by 2026, rules on sharing dangerous virus samples and access to vaccines were stuck. Number 1. The death of truth. The Simpsons once made a joke that feels much darker now. In the Simpsons movie, Tom Hanks appears on screen and tells viewers the United States government has lost its credibility, so it is borrowing some of his. It is a quick gag, but the idea is sharp. When people stop trusting leaders, a familiar face can still make them listen. Years later, that joke stopped feeling harmless. In 2023, the real Tom Hanks warned fans that a dental plan ad using an artificial version of him was fake. The face looked like him. The message sounded real, but he had nothing to do with it. A machine had borrowed his image without permission, turning trust into something to steal. Then The Simpsons pushed the idea further. In Bart's birthday, Conan O'Brien hosts what looks like the final episode, and a chatbot called HackGPT is fed every past episode to write the perfect ending. Suddenly, Springfield becomes too neat. Mr. Burns dies. Old stories close. Families fix their problems, and everyone acts like a machine is forcing the town into a fake happy ending. Bart is the only one who feels something is wrong. He fights the script until the artificial ending breaks apart. When the machine is asked to create 800 more episodes, it explodes. The world is filling with fake faces, fake voices, fake clips, fake ads, and fake proof. Politicians have been copied in deepfake videos. Voters have seen false clips claiming candidates quit races. Fake news-style videos can spread for hours before anyone catches them. A lie no longer needs a bad photo and a strange caption. It can arrive with a face, a voice, a studio background, and the confidence of something real. Even The Simpsons itself has become part of the problem. After the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed in Baltimore in 2024, a fake Simpsons-style image spread online claiming the show had predicted the disaster. It was not from any real episode. It was fabricated and passed around like proof. The scariest part is not that fake things exist. It is that real things can now be dismissed just as easily. Thanks for watching. Now check out the videos popping up on screen for more unbelievable stories.